Hello, my name's Stephen. I like to travel. That's my phone. And I like to collect conversations. So I started a little project and I've called it Bonding Sessions, partly because it's a witty and hilarious play on my name, Stephen Bond, but also because I genuinely believe in the power of a conversation. I think it teaches us as much about ourselves as it does about other people. A good friend of mine, Louis Cole, aka Fun for Louis, was in town this week. We had a long chat, and that's what it is. It's just a conversation, and if it's not to your tastes or your interests, then that's okay. Hopefully I'm going to talk to a wide variety of people over the course of the next few weeks, and maybe something in there will pique your interest, and maybe not. I can't promise anything. So if you want to eavesdrop, then yeah, stick around. Appreciate it. Alright, cheers. Bye.
Bro, got to have a look at this.
Did they fix it?
Yeah. So there was a massive tear down the whole seam. Look at that.
That is perfect.
Perfect.
So how exactly did you rip your shirt? You fell off a quad bike or something?
So yesterday we went out on these quad bikes, and these aren't like just the little kind of silly, the quad bikes that you just putter and
they
run.
weren't
These are like 50
little,
mile
but
an
they
hour,
weren't silly.
non-restricted, free for all. It was almost like a Royal Rumble in that pitch. I can't believe we didn't kill it.
I sat on my quad bike and I didn't know how to move it forward, and the guy put it in gear and just told me
You didn't show to press that little button?
I had no idea, man. I was just sat there for like 2 minutes, just trying to twist my handle and figure it out, while you were busy falling off a sand dune.
Yeah, I hit full speed because I was driving around with my camera for a little bit, one-handed. Then I was like, right, put the camera away. Full speed, hit a jump, nosedived. And then that's just at the point that you kind of pulled up, and I was like,
I just sped over to you, being like, "Louis, are you okay?" And you were just you just picked up your quad bike.
The whole quad bike fell over and ripped my shirt right open. Oh my gosh!
I'm sure that's not the first time you've.
Yeah. Luckily, there's no injuries.
Had a wardrobe malfunction. You know what? I'm going to start with you coming in with the shirt because I just waffled about myself for a couple of minutes, and we're here to talk about Fun for Louis and your life. And it just so happens you're in Dubai and you've been here for a conference, and this is where I live. But I've probably known you for about 8 years. The last, maybe 7, 8.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, I moved down to Surrey in 2007, so that's kind of crazy. Yeah, more than 8 years. But the last 3 years of your life have been a little bit different to the rest, right?
They have, yeah.
A little bit. We were in the mall today, we were snowboarding, and afterwards this girl ran up to you and said, "Louis, you make my day every day." And I don't quite know how you managed to process these things. To me, it would be the most surreal thing anyone ever said to me.
Yeah, but especially a random Arab girl in the middle of
on the other side of the world. It's someone who literally you've made an impact on, and you've never met, and you've never been in the same country as before. Does it still feel weird when you get people running up to you and saying,
do you know what? I guess things? I don't fully compute what's going on. I just kind of go into my mode of meeting people and being polite, and I do love meeting people, and I do believe when she said it's been an impact on her life, but I always think I can't have really been that much of an impact just watching videos. But then again, I'm aware it can be.
But what is it, do you think, that really kind of grabs people, and kind of, I guess it's the inspiration of travel? Is it about living your dreams?
I think part of it as well is, I think for me, just in myself, I've always looked to kind of challenge the normal way of living or reacting or, interacting with people. And I think people maybe find that quite refreshing. That's the feedback I get anyway, is that I don't choose the normal ways of doing things, and my approach to life is slightly different. And I think that difference, and mixed in with the reality of me sharing that kind of on that very personal level of the handheld camera thing, I think people connect with that in a way.
I remember when you started doing it, obviously, the history of, as a lot of people know, maybe a lot of people don't, is starting off with your Food for Louis channel, and I'll ask you about all the kind of origins of everything. I thought when you started doing daily vlogs and you started traveling the world, which you were doing anyway, I thought it might, people might just get a little bit, it might be like a jealous, envious kind of thing, but actually you allow people to live vicariously sort of through your videos. Does that must be weird as well? Like, do you feel like a sense of responsibility in some way to kind of be positive and to kind of keep adventuring? I guess that's kind of true to yourself.
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean, I think it's a good challenge to stay positive. I think I don't want to be fake. Like, if I'm genuinely upset, I probably would express that on camera. But there's something nice knowing that, oh, me being a positive person, optimistic and approaching situations positively, isn't just me seeing this. Now hundreds of thousands of people are watching this, and hopefully, it could encourage people to have a more positive outlook on their life, because we live in a really cynical culture, like especially in the UK. It's just, I don't think there is a more cynical culture, and I would have thought I've tried my hardest to rebel against that kind of cynicism.
It's funny that even your kind of insane positivity is like a form of rebellion. That's kind of quite weird, really.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that. I think that's really fun. Like, do you feel like the viewers who watch your videos day in, day out, like they really know you? Like, do you feel like you've kind of allowed them in? Obviously, there's you have your private and personal journey as well, but really they know you pretty well.
Yeah, I've got a funny story. I was in a supermarket in Australia, and this girl, and she was with her dad. She ran up to me. She said, "Louis," gave me a big hug, and I'm like, "Hey," and I kind of respond back on the same level as she's hugged me as a friend. I don't have a clue who she is, but she obviously knows everything about me. So, and this, I'm just assuming this. So I'm just like, "Hey, what's your name?" Yeah, and then just like start chatting away, like, how's your day been? What you've been up to? Just kind of light conversation. Her dad's like, "Oh, who's this?" And she's like,
"Who's this
he's
tall?
He's a man from the internet."
Oh,
and I'm
goodness.
like, no, wait, let's back up, because she's like a teenage girl. Her dad's like, "What?" I'm like, no, I make videos on the internet. She watches my video. It kind of, it was interesting that she was like, and someone said to a parent said to me that their daughter literally freezes in front of anyone, would shies away in any social situation.
This is a different person.
Yeah, this is actually a different person now. So it was actually in a supermarket as well, actually. In public places, I always get recognised because I've kind of got this ridiculous hair, and I'm like towering over people.
Man.
Yeah.
To be fair.
But yeah, just on the same kind of observation you made about the friendship element, or feeling that people feel close to me, this mum kind of teared up, and she said, "My daughter," because her daughter ran up to me again, kind of hugged me as if I'm like a friend I hadn't seen in ages. And then she said, "I've never seen my daughter like this. She freezes in every social situation."
That's amazing.
And I've never seen her act like this to anyone. And she wasn't screaming and fangirling. She was just genuinely like, "Louis," like hugged. And it was like this real friendship. She felt like we were friends. And it is a slight delusion that there isn't this reciprocating friendship, that I don't have a clue who she is, but I'm willing to. Like, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
That's the difference, isn't it? You can be in 10 blockbuster Hollywood movies, but people know you're an actor, and they don't necessarily feel like they really know you, but your life is on camera.
Yeah.
That's the difference, isn't it? And so people really genuinely feel like they do know you, and they do to an extent which has got to make you feel weird. But also, people who watch your vlogs probably know more about where you are and what you're doing than a lot of your kind of pre-existing and your friends from the UK you've grown up with. They probably have no idea where you are half the time.
I know, and they know things I've talked about as well. Just really like small facts. Like I went into a coffee shop, and someone in there watched my videos, and it was when during a time where I was kind of trying to stop drinking coffee, because I'm a bit of a coffee addict. And I ordered a coffee, and this girl said, "Oh, Louis, I thought you'd given up coffee." And I was
That's
like, it was
amazing.
almost like there was a friend there with
That's
me.
amazing.
And I was
Or like someone on your shoulder just
yeah, like
whispering into
it
your
was
ear.
almost like my viewers are keeping me accountable to the things that I said.
Louis, stop contradicting yourself. I mean, I think, I've like been a random face in a couple of your videos, but even last year, someone stopped me and recognized me from one of your videos. And for me, that was ultra weird. But today, we were in Dubai Mall. I don't know how you get anything done.
That was bizarre today. It was bizarre. Like, I reckon that 100 people probably stopped me.
Easily. But I want to talk a little bit more about that issue of sort of friendship and connection, and because you really genuinely, I mean, you have a home address, like you have a family home, but you're not like coming back home really, and you're not like resetting, and you're not traveling with the same people all the time. Obviously you have amazing friends, many of them I know from the UK, who really genuinely know you and care for you. So I know it's not, I wouldn't just say like, is it kind of a lonely journey, but it must be odd at times, like always on the move and always meeting different people. You can only keep in touch with so many people. Like, is that like, do you find that challenging?
I don't find it challenging. I've kind of weirdly adapted to this, like, not having a location as a home, just feeling at home where I think, because I've had other kind of stable factors in my life growing up, I guess, like strong family relationship and then really good friends around me. Whatever those strong factors are, it's meant that I don't find any security or stability in actually having a location that I call home. Which I think is quite different from what I understand. So most people feel quite secure having a place they can go back to with all their belongings. And
Yeah.
I think maybe part of my whole rebellion thing against society in many ways is I wouldn't hold material belongings as much value. So needing to like furnish a house and get all my things in there and neatly put them, whatever people love, kind of. Maybe one day I'll like to be a homemaker.
Have you ever thought about that? I mean, I don't mean have you ever. That's a
I've
silly
thought about
question,
having a family, but I can't picture what that would look like, or what a marriage would look like, or anything, because at the moment I'm in this place where I don't want to settle down.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine wanting to settle down.
Nor do you have to, right? That's the thing. There's just no like urgency for that. It's sort of like you might end up meeting someone who's a real kind of kindred spirit and like will travel with you, which is probably more likely, or you'll meet someone who is just so different and will like balance you out. But then I don't know how that would work, right? With
I wouldn't. It'd be a shame if I was really tamed back to being normal.
We all know that guy. We all know like people who have just kind of burnt the candle at both ends and then nested. Do you know what I mean? And I guess I don't see you doing that.
No, I see. I can see some adjustment. I'm willing to make compromises. I understand life's about compromising and relationships about compromising. So I'm aware that my life might not be as free and wild as it is now. But I can't picture, as much as I respect and love my parents and look up to them, I can't imagine living a similar life in terms of living in the suburbs. My dad's been in the same job for like 35 years or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't imagine fitting into that. I don't think it matters that I don't want to do that. I wonder what it would look like. I just don't know what my life.
Well, that's the beautiful thing, is that there's just no need for you to conform. Do you know what I mean? Like the life that you live and the fact that you have a career. I assume you still probably get a lot of comments saying like, how does Louis afford to do this?
Yeah, I don't think people quite grasped how YouTube works.
Even now, do you think?
Even still, most of my long-term viewers probably grasp how it works, but a lot of people just tuning in and have found me recently, they don't understand that having a big audience generates an income.
An audience is probably bigger than a lot of TV shows because there's so many options now.
I was chatting to someone randomly met who works for the ITV, and he was talking about it's like Coronation Street or something. And the monthly viewing figures they were getting was less than my monthly viewing figures on my YouTube channel. I was like, what?
It's ridiculous when you think about it. Like, we grew up with 4 channels, 5 channels. and people would sit in. There was no YouTube, so people would just sit in, and like 20 million people would watch the same TV show every week. And now, like, you've got every niche, like every single. I mean, you roll around with so many different YouTubers who've got, a lot of crossover, but everyone's got their, favorites and stuff. Who do you appeal to? Like, I mean, today I saw guys, girls, different nationalities. There must be something you really like tap, in like the core of people.
I think from what I gather is there's a lot of people that would love to travel, but for whatever reason, whether it's financial or they're still studying or whatever it is, they can't at the moment, but they are planning to. And in the meantime, they watch my videos to get ideas and be inspired, and it kind of feeds their kind of hunger for travel.
So a lot of that
might be students or like people that are going to be taking their gap year soon. But I've found more recently, especially in the UK, more and more kind of people in their 20s, mid to late 20s even, walking over and saying hello. Today was dominated by teenagers, but I think that might be just because it's a weekend and they're off school.
So have you seen like a change in your viewership, like based on, are you filming differently? Are you looking at different things?
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of my audience grew quite rapidly from the friendship circles I hung out in terms of other YouTubers, and a lot of their audiences are slightly younger, and they're slightly younger themselves. They're in their like early 20s. I'm in my early 30s now, and that, I think. So I did draw some of my audience from that, which was mainly kind of teenagers and quite predominantly girls as well. And now it's balanced out. I've got about 50-50 in terms of girls and guys. Yeah.
Wow.
And I think it's spot on 50-50. And then also it's probably the older teenagers and, like I said, people in their 20s now. That's probably my most common kind of viewer.
I'm guessing you didn't go in with a strategy to be like, like some kind of marketing exec to be like, this is my demographic, this is who I'm targeting, or was there a little bit like of that, like
I think
awareness?
I think it's evolved. Obviously, YouTube's made it really easy to find out a lot about your audience, and that helps them then put, for the monetizing side of it, put the right adverts on your videos. I'm not involved in any of that side of it. That's all kind of on YouTube. But it's just, I think I just find it interesting to see because it makes me realise, okay, these are the kind of people watching my videos. Maybe subconsciously that makes me behave or talk in a certain way, or the way that I talk to my viewers that I'm imagining, okay, so they're like, I'm probably talking to someone and then in their late teens, could be a girl or a guy. Like in terms of how I, if I was talking to little kids, I might be like, oh look, you might change how you act.
Yeah, of course. But what's intrigued me about watching you go about your day and vlog, and obviously social media outside of YouTube is so sort of crucial to what you do. You are like completely fascinated by like what works and what doesn't, and it's not like, it doesn't feel like a ploy to reach more people. It's just that you're so intrigued as to what people want and what they want to see, what sparks interest, what's less interesting. And I feel like that's because you're kind of working with your viewers to see like how you can like facilitate them, and obviously it's a mutual, like it's a kind of like a mutual relationship. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it's just so many factors, and I think that kind of that fact that I've chosen to do regular, pretty much every day videos, and then
that was a bold move.
The time of day that I managed to get around to uploading has been pretty erratic, especially when I got a lot on. Like this last week's been full on, but I've managed to pretty much keep up to date, and I think people kind of bear with me because they realise, okay, he's probably off, scuba diving or skydiving or something, whatever it is, like. Which literally.
But do people get like upset with you, like, because obviously from my perspective it's free content.
Yeah, I get tweets like, I've waited up all night and you still haven't uploaded your vlog. What's going on? And I'm ridiculous. Like, chill out. Like, come on. Like, and to be honest, I do try and keep people updated. Like, guys, don't stay up. I'm not going to get it up for like
Just
another.
for full context, and I'm talking to you, but also I'm aware people are listening in. Obviously, you had 1 hour sleep last night,
Yeah,
and it's kind of already quite late, and you're getting up at 4
4
to go
a.m.
hot air ballooning.
Hot air balloon sunrise watching, which I'm hoping. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's going to be worth getting only another like 4 hours sleep or whatever.
Because you can sleep on the plane, but I don't know. Are people aware that you take your own pictures, you edit your own videos, you source the music? I mean, obviously,
People don't
know.
see the production side of it because I'm obviously filming all day, and then I turn the camera off, and that's when I eject the SD card, put it in my computer, copy the files across. I literally spent 5 or 6 hours editing last night instead of sleeping. And people sometimes are like, oh, oh, you have your life so easy, like you're just dusting all the time, you're on this constant holiday. There is this element of it does feel like I'm on a constant holiday, but I still feel like I'm working pretty hard to then film and edit and then cut to music and then upload that or find internet and then upload that.
That's because you've got that balance of it's such a cliche, but if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. But it is work, right? So
I never used to describe it as work, but the reality is, as much as I want to fool myself that it isn't, it is work. Like if I was doing this professionally, like cutting and editing videos every day, like that would be my.
Do you think you'd miss it? Like, do you think if you didn't, if someone kind of came and took away that production element, you'd kind of want to keep that?
Well, it's been on my mind. I wonder, like, could I do more and be more interesting to watch and more awake if I got someone in to help me edit? But I do feel at the moment like I'm not a control freak, but I don't know how to delegate very well. It's not a skill I've got, and also I do enjoy the creative process of putting my videos together.
But it's also, I mean, it's you, isn't it? So it's not a control freak thing necessarily. It's your image, it's your journey, it's your adventure, and then someone would really have to know you to be able to like portray you how you want. But I think you just answered another question. Really, like, what would you be doing if YouTube didn't come along? If for whatever reason that didn't happen, you'd still be making videos. You'd definitely still be traveling because you were doing that.
I was still
forever.
I was still filming all my travels. I just wasn't. I mean, I've got old tapes, mini DV tapes of travels that I'd love to edit together and put on the channel as kind of historical archive.
I'm sure people would love to see that. Correct me if I'm wrong. The first interesting adventure that I'm aware of that you had, way before I knew you and your friend, our mutual friend Andy Lindsay. The day you passed the driving test, or he did, you just drove to France.
Did you see the video I put up on my channel?
I remember. I think someone told me about it. I haven't seen the actual video. Did you show clips and stuff?
I made a whole vlog of it. Was like called my first ever vlog, and I was like 16 or something.
That's
or 17. It was way before YouTube, like a decade almost.
So you didn't really know necessarily why you were just documenting it for your own
just
personal
as a little let's film
pleasure.
this adventure. I had a little handicap, and it's great to look back over. I look totally different. I like before I had dreadlocks.
You still had long hair, right?
Still had long hair. It's great, and you could see the excitement because we'd never done anything like it. It's the first real road trip we'd done. But yeah,
I want to come back to the whole like friendship, connection, relationship thing. Like, I'm pretty sure you're single at the moment. Like, that whole side of things must be kind of challenging as well, is it not? Like,
it's very challenging just because my natural tendency, I would never be the kind of guy that just randomly hooks up with people just because I'm more emotional and long term in the way that I see a relationship. So if I was in a fixed location, I would spend time, make friends with someone, and then potentially that would grow into a relationship. But because I'm never in a place for long enough, that's impossible.
I'm sure you meet people who are willing to put up with that.
Yeah. So then my thought is, oh, that means I kind of need to accelerate the whole process. Like if I meet someone that I think, I like them, then it's like, okay, what now? Because I probably won't be here next week. And then it's, I don't know. I just don't know the solution. And then it's like, oh, but if I was traveling with someone, but then that's like such a full-on thing. at an early stage of liking someone, oh, come travelling with me, and it's just like
Man,
all of that is just
that is an accelerator, though, isn't it?
yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. What
It's
the
like a
answer is.
holiday romance, but every day of your life. Like,
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
I don't know how I will start really making meaningful connections with people that or starting new meaningful connections with people. I think I can maintain meaningful relationships.
Yeah.
Relationships with friends I've done that I've had for years, but to start now and to from meeting someone and then being like, okay, I'm not going to see you again potentially for like. And that's like, do you know what I mean? I'm just constantly on the move. I don't know what the answer is. I
And
need
then
to figure it out.
yeah, and then you kind of have to kind of work in, not necessarily guilt, but just that, I don't know, responsibility that you don't, I'm sure,
Well, I'm imagining if I meet someone that really means something enough, then I might slightly adapt my life just to figure that out. Whether it's the fact that I really miss them, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm going to come back to this reoccurring place to work on this. I can imagine that would happen. I'm thinking as well in terms of like settling. I don't like that word, but I wonder whether there'll be a few locations like bases, like maybe in the summer London, rest of the year maybe like LA or San Fran, then like Cape Town. I can imagine
like
those
hubs.
being hubs, yeah, and then I'd be
So
traveling out.
you like got a girlfriend? Yeah, the audio is going to be funny because this is slipping and sliding everywhere.
We're just figuring this out.
Yeah, it's pretty rough already. So like London girlfriend, New York girlfriend. Is that what you mean?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just mean like, say I met someone in one of those places, it could work well because I could be bouncing back and forth. And I also don't like the idea of a long distance relationship.
Careful with your words.
I do like the idea of a long term relationship,
Good to
not
know.
not long distance relationship.
So this might be a harder question to answer because you've been traveling since forever. But
Yeah.
like, how has travel changed you? Like, from my perspective, it's a mind-enhancing drug.
Yeah,
like that ability.
very addictive. I actually feel worried that I couldn't lead a normal life now. Not that I'd want to, but I feel like I really couldn't. Like, if I'm in maybe 2 months in one place, that's too long for me. I have to leave, even if it's just like, okay, I just need to go somewhere.
So that phrase, the phrase wanderlust, like that is, it's a cliche, but cliches exist for a reason, right? But it must have had some amazing effect on your mind just because you've met people in so many different countries, so many different economic levels and cultures. Like, I guess I imagine you've always been pretty open-minded, but it must have expanded just the way you think and see people, no?
Well, it's just very stimulating because the only time other than school, which is monotonous and routine, the only time I've had that in the workplace is when I was working at Sky, which was like a decade ago, literally. And I was doing, traveling in, driving the same route every day, arriving at the same desk every day, pretty much working the same hours every day. Might have different work on, but it was a duplicate day every day, and it just flew by. Before I knew it, days turned into weeks, turned into months, turned into years, and then I'm suddenly, whoa, like this, I need to stop because my whole life's going to fly by. And now every single day, not only am I probably in a different country most weeks, I'm meeting new people, I'm having new experiences, and it's just this rich, it's like a rich experience that's just forever stimulating and never monotonous.
So for someone who works in 9 to 5 and they set goals to get a promotion or kind of level up in life in the traditional sense, are you setting yourself goals? Like, do you have I guess the whole kind of reaching 1 million subscribers on YouTube must have been
that was a really good
a bonus and a milestone, but I don't know if it's necessarily a goal. Do you have a list?
It might have been a goal. I think it might just be because it was like, well, I mean, it is just such an exciting milestone to hit. It's such a nice number to see on the screen.
But it's also
in a way, it's almost gamifying the whole thing. Like, with any of the online social stuff, like followers on Instagram, subscribers on YouTube, likes on Instagram, whatever it is, it's easy to gamify that and almost get a little bit focused on.
True story, yeah. At whatever level you're at,
like,
even if you've got 10 followers,
is to hit the next rung on the followers. But I think I've I think over the last 6 months, I've started veering away from that mentality. I think it can become really unhealthy, and really obsessive. And I think this year I feel a lot more excited about the goals I've set, and now having Nick and Ange essentially on Team Louis.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, like I've been employing Ange to be essentially my like business manager, liaising or negotiating with people that want to work with me, whether it's like tourism boards or brands, and also being my PA. So I'm getting like, lots of emails in every day, whatever it is, asking things, and she'll be responding. So I won't have to sit down every day for hours during the day that I already haven't got enough time to sleep. So it's helped. It's been this amazing weight off my shoulders, but it's also helped me focus and be like, okay, so now I've got people helping me. What are those goals that I want to achieve? And having them on board, it's almost like, what do we want to achieve as a team? And I definitely want more team in my life, because I really am often a lone ranger, like off on my own doing things. And I've even said now to people, when I'm traveling, I don't want to travel alone. I don't want it to be like Louis traveling out on it.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah, and that's a recent switch, right? In terms of,
I mean, I think there's times I've felt like I've enjoyed solo travel, but as a whole, I've always enjoyed traveling with friends a lot more. I think it's just now a lot of my friends have settled down. They're in 9 to 5s. They've got wives, kids.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to be like, oh, come away for a week. I've managed to do it recently. I've managed to pull a few friends away from their very different lives to what I'm doing. But
the alternative kind of, normality. So, okay, it's interesting to see how you're kind of evolving with it, like with just kind of, I don't know, each new day presents new opportunities, and you're kind of making decisions about where to go and what to do and what kind of collaborations to do based on what, just the enjoyment factor mostly, like what kind of,
I guess that comes into it. It's somewhere new, something, an experience I feel like I haven't had or haven't been able to capture to show my audience. It's not all about me just having that experience. It's the ability then to capture it and show that. I think that's part of the enjoyment for me as well. Also, it's is it? I mean, some of the stuff like skydiving, you couldn't say, oh, that's really a positive thing that's going to impact the world in a great way. It's really, really fun, and I'd recommend people to do it. And it's probably fun to watch someone doing it, and maybe challenges people to step out of their comfort zones and face fears. But I want to have a deeper kind of deeper meaning to my channel as well, which isn't just. I mean, some people may criticise that I'm just this hedonistic, like pleasure-seeking, just has to be my shallow fun. That's the goal, and I can see maybe certain videos I'm making could portray that, but hopefully, underlying that, people realise that I want to have a positive impact on the world as a whole, and I'm open to be challenged about that. Like even recently, something that's going over and over in my head is like, I've never had a great eating habit. I eat fast food. I would never check any of the ethical things about where food comes from for me. Since last year, meeting Jamie Oliver and having discussions with him, and also realising I've got this massive platform now, I just think, that's probably something I really need to address in my life, is my eating and the ethics of that, because it's so easy to not think about that.
And that's partially because you know so many people are influenced by your videos. Is that a big?
Yeah, like people, I realise, like if I'm riding a penny board, people will go and buy penny boards. And by the way, not even sponsored by them. I should be, but I'm not. Or the fact that I drink a lot of coffee. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of teenage coffee addicts because of me, which probably isn't a good thing, because I didn't start drinking coffee till I was like in my 20s.
You could be influencing them in a lot worse ways, but I know what you mean.
So there is that responsibility. That whether it's positive or negative, the things I'm doing are going to rub off on people, especially a lot of people look up to me as some kind of role model, and I'm not saying I'm going to be a role model. I just am. Like
it's incidental, absolutely. But you do have, there is like a philanthropic element, right? You've done some partner with some projects in Kenya, was it?
Yeah,
In terms of friends of yours already who are doing charity work.
Well, I think
And that's something you've been doing
I was
anyway.
doing that for years anyway, it was very easy to incorporate that and be like, and I probably haven't done enough of that, but I've got some trips planned later in the year. I unfortunately missed one to Kenya recently, which I was really gutted about, but I'm going to be going to Romania again with this charity Regenerate, which I used to work for. And there's ongoing things. World Vision want me to go and check out some of the projects they're doing around the world.
Awesome. So that's you sort of putting a spotlight on that.
Yeah, spotlighting amazing organisations or charities that are making a real difference, and maybe it's not all about fundraising and telling people to give money. It's just awareness. It's just saying, look, this is something really positive that's happening.
Yeah.
A lot of people do ask how can they get involved with things in their local areas, and I don't know. I haven't got a structure in place to support people to like find things to volunteer at and stuff. But maybe that's something I'd love to do in the future, is help facilitate. Okay, I've got this big community of people. A lot of them want to do something positive and make a change. How can we do that as a I don't want to centralize it and be like, I'm going to lead this big community.
Yeah, Team Louis.
Yeah, it's not about that, but it's like, can I facilitate it? Can I help people feel empowered to go and change the world around them?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
And you kind of already do to a degree, but I guess what you're saying is that's potentially the evolution of what you want to do. And you use the phrase deeper meaning, and I guess you're already kind of wanting to go in that direction. So, but there's a balance, right? To kind of, you kind of, you obviously you said hedonistic, and you could define that in various ways, but you really are just taking every opportunity, living life to the fullest. But I don't know, there is that realism of what the world is really like, and being able to engage with that and be real about things.
And
I don't know.
I'd like to
cool.
think my lifestyle's quite healthy
to a degree.
To a degree, other than the lack of sleep, that might be our room service.
Well, yeah, no, cool. Yeah, awesome. Well, why don't we grab? Yeah, let's grab a little break. Yeah, cool. Let's break. So, Louis, I feel like we've covered some interesting topics.
It's a good start.
I think people generally want to know about your relationships, your income, just, I don't know, why you do what you do. And I think we've got that, and the foods are right, so I don't want to.
Yeah, so I think it is now time to eat and to sleep. Pretty important things in life.
And you've got another big day ahead of you. Where are you off to next?
Flying to Madrid tomorrow.
Which will probably be like last week by the time
So Madrid, I was invited to this, sounds really important, like the Economist Future of Travel Summit to talk. So I'm getting all these like high-end like talking gigs, which I don't know how they're going, but we'll see. It's always something different, isn't it? So
that's what you've been doing in Dubai, and I guess that might be another layer to.
And it feels like a compliment as well. It feels like I'm being taken really seriously. Because I'm just like, wait, do they think I'm like...
The real test
do they think I'm important?
The real test is not getting invited somewhere, it's getting invited back.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. Anyway, Louis, mate, I don't have a fancy sign-off.
It's just high five.
High five. Appreciate your time, buddy.
Yeah, see you next time.
Yeah, be safe.
Cool.